record.
Bye. Yes.
So our
Hi
document.
everyone.
Hi, Jane,
Hi.
Alan.
Yes.
That's Jane. Yeah, because our documentation, you can have it where it's called a journal.
Yes.
Or the academia is one way of documentation. Another documentation is in our audit world,
Yes.
because accountability and all that, right? And leading towards later when we're able to give sustainable entrepreneurship or enterprise development work or advisory.
Yes.
We would need to do this, and there's a governance.
Yes.
So and it's, I'm hoping that we can all get to a place where we understand what legal documentation of that means, you know. The other one is, interestingly, Vashima's view of pedagogical documentation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and her one took me a long time to grasp it, but it's actually about multiple perspectives. So the documentation format itself, it's quite artistic. We don't really know the form. So I think what Bilberries Blue has is all these forms of documentation. And of course, then with science being so strong in essay writing and guiding that, we are encouraging the youth stewards to actually put, and you can see the folder now. It's looking so rich, right, Ejin?
Yes, and I think they have a very strong punch on youth, this ICF, International Coach Federation. It was a whole session on the youth. There's so many outreach out there on youth. There is a community for practice, youth volunteers. So I think this is gaining more and more traction. And there was even an argument, they say, because for Singapore, the age of youth is from until 26. I think teenage plus 26. But then somebody clarified, say, in the United Nations Development Program, youth is up to 35.
Oh, youth is up to 35. That's right.
Yeah.
They used to have this kind of scientific awards, and actually, right? After 30.
According to UN.
That's good, right? Shall we follow that, Bunny?
If
we follow that, huh?
Yeah, if we follow that definition, then you can increase.
I was speaking to some
Hi,
the national. Hi, Vashima. we are started recording because we just jumped right in and started.
Carry on. I'm listening.
So the two things, Bunny was talking about documentation, and we've now moved on about the definition of use, because I have kind of finished our open studios, the Bilberries Blue open studios, and the National Library Board came twice. The first day with the leadership team, and the second day with their youths, I suppose. I don't know. They were young adults. They were like 25 years old, and they were listening spend one whole day listening, and so I think the National Library has a practice and an understanding of documenting oral history. I think maybe they spent that day with us looking from that perspective. We haven't really found what is the tangible response from that day, but just that day itself, then I realized one of the two librarians who were there is actually an NLB intern, and he had written a lovely email in, and he almost basically said he was going to be a volunteer for life whether we under Bilberries Blue, that we could create a volunteer steward role for him. It was,
that's right.
Yeah, and then I asked them, so there were two of them. I had to ask them impolitely how old they were, but they told me, and then I said, so how do you perceive yourself? Are you adults or young adults?
Well, that's
or youth? Yeah.
There was a discussion about the age group in the International Coach Federation, because according to Singapore definition, it's until 25. But then somebody challenged, because they were talking about millennials. And then they said that millennials are not youth anymore because they're beyond 30. But then somebody who is an expert on youth, I mean, he has 25 years on youth, he said, no, according to the United Nations, youth is until 35. That's their that's their
Look at Vashima's face.
youth is up to 35. So somebody in the chat commented, when will they mature?
And
But that's the technical definition of the age group.
wow.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
Bernie, by 35, most of us would have had, if it's chosen to have babies, would have had babies, you know, and have to be raising babies. So if you have a mindset that you're still a youth, it's
No, but youth doesn't mean a teenager. Youth means young adults.
Well, that's why.
Okay.
Because the definition is youth is the age, and they extend the age until 35.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can.
Why are you not an adult but
Huh?
needs to be a young adult? That's what I asked NLB librarians as well. You know, why at 35 you still consider
No, because
yourself as young?
adult, it's a stage of adulthood.
Mm.
What does that mean? I thought like from, you know, say we are 21 and suddenly you have to be an adult, right? At some stage, early as well. Otherwise, how? What is, you know? I don't know. Again,
Please, we don't digress. We don't digress. So because we call this youth stewardship,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So we can. So maybe we can.
So we are on the safe. We are on the safe parameters if we say, okay, youth is until this age, because at the beginning we say they have to go to Cambridge until 22, 20. I think we can go beyond.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
keep it simple. And then
Yeah.
the other party that I met was Changi Foundation, and they sponsor scholarships for youths in. Hi, Nika.
Hi, Nika.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this session is already being recorded, Nika. So we've already gone straight to work. And they said they sponsor youths at youths, and so they've introduced us to very beautiful people, and I'm hoping they will join us today. Phyllis, they look after youths, and they were saying some of them actually they have a program for mums to continue their education, young mothers, or so I think I like what you're saying, Bunny, that we extend it even up to 35. It's quite nice. And I was really struggling, right? And they said there were too many programs coming up. So I think, did the United Nations give us a guideline, or the coaching council give at what age so say we go up to 35, then at what age do we start?
Then maybe that one, if I'm not mistaken, she said 18.
Oh, 18. What about the 13 to, so they're children?
Huh?
The teenagers.
Yes, the teens.
Oh, they just call them teens.
Yeah,
but then probably youth.
We can just research on that.
Yeah,
but we want to up the age. We can. It's still under youth.
Okay, let's up the age, but the starting age, I'm asking because we're currently in transition to moving into Spectra Secondary School.
Yeah.
And so they start at 13. I kind of feel, and when we were talking to Changi Foundation and all, and I was just talking to different people about youth work, they feel that if you start earlier.
Yeah, that's why we can just tweet the segment, maybe slash to include 18 below slash and then program.
You want another program from 13 to 16? Vashima, what do you think?
No, what I'm saying is that if you want to up the age, we are okay. But if you want to go down, I don't know, because UN has a definition of youth.
18.
There is a floor.
There is a floor. 18. 18 is the floor. So for us, we need
and then again, with the younger ones, there are a lot of other things that come into play, which makes our consent and everything else also, and travel, if at all, and all of that.
That will be complicated.
Complicated.
Yes.
So you think 18 is okay?
I think 18 should be okay.
Yeah.
18.
So they join us at 16. So by the time they get ready and intern with us, they are 18 and ready to be.
Okay. So we can open our internship. Our internship, we had started, I mean, yeah, quite early and as well. So what do we do?
Even if they start off early, like they can have 3 years of internship, or they can start off early with us, but their first travel out will be at 18.
Okay. So the internship was fantastic, right? Because Alan spent with us, how many years, Alan? The Micro Summit.
Well, almost 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, yeah.
And before that, Alan had reminded us that we were running the butterfly camps.
Yes. So it can be a long association, but by 18 then, they are ready and all set to take on a bigger leap.
Okay. So they can engage with us either as an intern or they can engage with us as part of camps, like butterfly camps, and up to 18, and then from 18 onwards, we can then do the travel.
That's right. Yeah. It'll be much more manageable, not manageable, but it'll fly and flow better with that 18 if they have been with us, they know the ethos, they know our values.
That's right.
They know our expectations, and they're groomed for making the big leap rather than somebody just coming for 6 months and then flying with us. No, it takes time.
Yeah, it'll be quite too much of a...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the summer school, Vashima and Bernie, so you see as 18 plus for the summer school?
Yeah.
Some of the parents that I was polling with, actually, I think they have a longing and hope to. That's Janus. Is that Janus?
Yes.
Have you met Janus?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a hope and a longing too for that full inclusion experience, but their kids are younger.
We'll have a
what
problem.
do you think the summer school is too ambitious, you think? Because Bernie, you had said that formation has no age group, right? So I was kind of, because I think we need to start our Templeton Foundation grant competition application soon. So we have to make a decision by today.
Yeah, so where are we now?
School, what age group? Are we going to talk about the family? Because we are a school of life,
That's right. But for this particular competition, you have to limit. Because what is the requirement for this competition?
You have to have a character development program in place, of course, and of course we have the track record.
Yeah.
We have the formulation.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to write that out a little bit clearer. But I think your journey of possibilities is there, and the enabled participation is there, and then the pedagogical documentation. So put together, I think we already have the framework and the track record. I think they will be very interested. We would then need to be able to impact, or in our ecosystem, 1,000 people, and I think we have, because we are now, the lighthouses are going into the schools.
Yeah, so if we're going to construct it, so we have to decide what is the floor, what's the base of the age.
My sense is that even when I was discussing with the schools, and yesterday I did a home-based learning with Keith, I'm finding that actually the way I'm working with Keith is actually early childhood work. Vashima? So I don't think we can
also it one-to-one. So it also is like small is beautiful.
Yes.
Numbers then get into management issues.
That's right.
So, but let's have clarity here. What are we going to talk about this afternoon? Is it
this afternoon? It's a combination of essential, because we're 2:30 is the youth, the typical cohort 1 youth stewardship. That one is live for others. Today we're at milestone number 4.
Yeah.
But I'm letting everybody in early because this half an hour we are talking about the summer school and the pitch. So it's the two put together.
Yeah, but then for this half an hour before the regular Zoom,
Yeah,
we are talking about the Templeton competition.
I think even today during the youth stewardship, we can talk about the Templeton competition.
But then in the Templeton competition is, okay, we have the raw material, we have the character formation input, we have the documentation, etc., etc. So this Templeton competition is a venue for fundraising, right?
So what they do is they will ask you, okay, how many years? So 1,000 people.
Yes.
How many years?
Yes.
You can, and they will fund operating costs as well.
Yes.
So it's quite a meaty funding.
Yes.
Fund less than 200,000 and all that. They want to fund a sustainability, you know.
Yes. So the funding is one thing. Once they give you the funding,
yeah,
the uses of these funds is up to you.
Yeah, so so we need to ring fence it. So I'm thinking we use, and they fund not for profit, so we will use One Love.
Yeah.
So what we will do is we will put so I think BB Lighthouse is a spatial concept, and out of which you can run the programs. One of the programs would be youth stewardship. Other programs would be the internship, and then Vashima, one more to catch the other stuff, I think. That's why I'm asking this question. Where do you think our internship, because for us, once we engage, all the components come in anyway. So it is really looking like it's internship and youth from 18 to 35. And internship, maybe we can do 13 to 17. Yeah. And then from 0 to 12, we need to give it something.
Okay.
And our one track that combines it all is, of course, the formation piece. But our full inclusion piece is really what we have been living quite easily. Actually, we've learned it, and then we are living it very naturally, like a way of life. And then, of course, the other thing is to break the learned helplessness in communities that are kind of disadvantaged. And the breaking of the learned helplessness is by creating or learning about sustainable entrepreneurism, where everyone is your own resource, and also the skills that are required basically have economic empowerment. So they're kind of like you know, so maybe if you call the full inclusion,
if I understand it right, then the character building needs all these opportunities and engagements.
That's right. It has to be living. We are talking about an everyday researcher. Sorry. Hi, Tasha. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, Mel, Felix, Selva. Sorry, we're right in our discussion. We have recorded. We're still recording everybody since 2 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So we are about living it. Because there's no point learning academic stuff anymore, right?
No.
It's about living it, yeah. So
the reason why you're looking at even the younger one, because it's all building blocks to character building. Building
and character building is through community. So this is their and it fits us exactly. So
it fits because
we are defining our community now.
Yeah, because now the emphasis is not only individual.
Yeah,
it's community of practice, which means you have to have a project with the community.
So when you talk about the project with the community, then in our case, our projects are
so I'm thinking the people development piece or the family, that means just the human development piece. We put it all under One Love, and then we have all these other opportunities where it's under the sustainable enterprises, either charcoal, you know, if somebody wants to do cottage studios, or say under food forest farm, if you know, then those are not under this.
No.
Then we will prepare them, and then they will be fielded, and that will be their jobs, right? If they choose, like anybody outside can come and do that job. But the commercial experiences or opportunities, we have the 12 petals, and these entities are already formed. So under One Love is, when we talk about full inclusion, as I think through the clarity, it's unconditional love, isn't it? So everyone is unique as you are, you're beautiful as you are, you have a rightful place, that's your right of
This is
right.
the macro, but when we're talking about with this particular foundation, when we want
you will then go from there, and then you have so full inclusion is unconditional love, that's why it's One Love. Then you will have another layer where you have formation and sustainable entrepreneurism, and these are very technical stuff, so we would do our documentation and thinking. This is more like our research, right? Then another one will essentially be programs that will just cut this way.
Yeah.
Right? Three big programs. Maybe later on we might have to do the older age group too, you know.
That's right.
I think it's 4.
Yes.
If we can write it,
Yes.
the 4th is us, actually. The sustainability stewards, right? Because we're hitting like the 70s as well, right? So we've got from 36 to 100. So we've got 4, 0 to 12, 13 to 17, because I think that age is very, very impressionable. That's really where they formate themselves, you know, and the puberty and the.
That's right.
So if you can I say something, like what's coming to my mind is, when you're looking at, for Templeton, if you're looking at character building, we need to define, or we need to look at areas that make up for the character required for being aligned with everything that we are talking about.
Yeah,
so that's the character we're looking at. So we're looking at even as an entrepreneur, a sustainable entrepreneurship, what is the character required?
Yes.
So what are the skills required? What is the opportunities required to build those skills in, to have that kind of habits of mind, and the tenacity to persevere, you know, all of that. All this needs that this will lead to, like, say for example, in this case of internship, they are getting guidance, but they're getting enough opportunity for expressing themselves, opportunities to lead their talent, their skills into real life, practice into real life, be the host, build up the confidence to. So we're looking at, so once we talk about the macro, it's great. We are very good with macro. We have to be able to define ourselves with the micro now, as to what will lead what, because it has to be bridged, right? If I need skills, I need opportunities. If I need opportunities, I need involvement and engagement. If I need involvement, engagement, then I also need how do I navigate these opportunities and make the most of it. So how does my self-motivation come into play as being part of the community? Because every time a community is not going to excite me, there are things that need to be done without the excitement. So
anyway,
all of that,
we can brainstorm this and fine-tune it another moment.
Yeah.
Maybe today. If you just excuse me for a little bit, because I forgot to bring my notepad and pen, because there's so much. So my own process, I need to go in, because I'm kind of on the floor in the corridor right now. Because we are locked down. This is the only space I have. So I'm just going to go and get my pen and paper. Hang on a second.
So now what's the situation in Singapore? Locked down again?
Yeah. I think there's a leak. There's a leak in the community. So we are, just to be safe, I think it's a good call. Yeah, hang on a second.
So schools are closed.
Yes. Schools are closed again.
Schools are closed again. Wow.
And India here in the city where I am is also locked down. You need a pass, which you can apply online to step out, but you have to give your time, and you need to give your place where you're going to, and you get your pass just for that moment, just for that time.
What about Malaysia?
Not sure about that.
Who is Malaysian here? How's
Malaysia, we just currently went into another lockdown, but then it's not as strict as before. And yesterday we just recorded a new high in cases, so it's not really looking good for us.
It's not really, yeah. And travel between Malaysia and Singapore is still not possible.
No, borders are still closed. Yeah, I think even now interstate travels are restricted. You need to get letters from the police or like from the Ministry of Trade.
Okay.
But there are people who abuse that to go travel.
Yeah.
But about Kimberly, what about in your Philippines? How is the situation in your place? Hi, Kimberly, are you there?
Nika,
Yeah, Nika,
Yes,
how is the situation?
it's fine. But the COVID cases is still going higher.
Uh-huh. But you can move around.
Yes, but
This is in your place, right? In Dangkalan.
yes, we can.
Yeah, you can still move around, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this cohort will be the regular cohort, the Thursday cohort, this one. Where
this one
everybody,
is, I don't know if
everybody will-
anyone else is joining. It's only about 2:30, it hasn't really started.
yeah.
Yeah. So this group is, except for Felix, Alva, and Janus, we let them in early, but like Nika and Ellen and Tasha, so we've been working as project teams, as work teams, and Edgin as well. So that one we've been meeting so today is the 4th Thursday because last Thursday we rescheduled. So our goal is by the 5th Thursday, it's called 5 Thursdays to Cambridge, right?
That's right.
By next week, we need to get our paper out.
That's right.
And
where are we now in this submission?
I've already looked at the submission. So now from today, we will need to use our time spent today very, very well. So because I've validated what is needed in Singapore as well with the schools, we've also found our space. So from actually the idea of open studios to lighthouses, it's already grounded. We found our space. We're in the middle of writing our legal agreement with the space partners. So Bilberries Blue lighthouses is real already. We're in the middle of packing. So these are the things that will show that, yep, we're real and we've got all our track record. Now we have to kind of formulate how we will do. So I think what I have under here is unconditional love is full inclusion. And I think the centerpiece is Tube with governance and formation in there. And pedagogy. So what has happened is as we are prototyping, right, this youth stewardship and all our different programs, the Templeton Foundation starts the funding and basically it's June 1, right?
Yeah, June 1 or June 11?
June 11 is the deadline, but
deadline.
it's for programs after June 11. Yeah. So it's so right now I guess we are like a prototype. Accounting wise, I haven't transferred everything into, I haven't restructured it for this, right? So I think our final prototyping was really this last 6 months where we built in the formation piece and also Vashima watching and observing the pedagogy piece and I think that whole process, we can call it Tube. I think the economics of universal well-being has these features because with the economies, we've built some components. And governance, when Saif jumped in, maybe one other person that we need to bring in is Susie, together with Vincent, on the art piece. Yeah, and I was with Vincent 2 days ago, talking about this, and we were working on this to see how it would look like in the new space that we're going to occupy in Spectra. So we have about 2 weeks to do that. So that I think would complete Tube as the process and thinking and the deep, and then the documentation and go in there. But I think now, today, if we can go a little bit about what Vashima was guiding us, then after that we talk about the age group. So we can say, we're going, okay, so before we say we talk about the engagement programs, okay, the age group, we will say 0 to 12, 13 to 17, 18 to 35, 36 to 100, like that, okay? So that's our engagement programs. There's no other way to call it, but we will have to run it like a youth program, right? But before that, I think what Vashima was prompting us to do was to define. So the programs is basically our community, and we have put it into 4 buckets, because these 4 buckets have different needs, and we can design those, and we can write that down, and then we can then cost it. We can see how we're going to run it, and then get the funding for that. So that would be the bulk of it. But I think that's a layer missing in our rainbow cake. That's a layer missing, which is what Vashima was saying. You got to define it. How do we do this, Vashima?
Yeah, you've got to have clarity.
You got to have clarity about what is the character that you're. So I in my simplistic mind is just thinking about everyday researcher, but I don't know. I don't know how to do this piece. I've not done this piece before. So
okay, I'm just saying out, and we can all look at it, that yes, we have a very broad idea about what an ideal scenario is, and any education or any development cannot be without an ideal state of affairs, right? We are aiming at that. So community that has characteristics of individual that optimize the possibility, because it is a journey of possibility. So what kind of characteristics from each of the community members do we need, or would make up an optimum community experience that can trust, that can love, that can support, that can persevere, that can achieve, that can make a difference, that can transform, that can make life meaningful, that can be ambitious, that can deal with calamities, that can deal with the support individual needs. So we need to look carefully as to what makes up an inspiring community. So if we define that in our own context, because what for me would be here would be, some things would be universal, but some things would have to be contextualized. And that's why we can have the universal, we can have the macro, but we have to get down and looking deeply into what kind of community would I belong to. We have to start with, maybe it's a good idea to start with an ideal scenario. And then of course there's the aberration, because it's a journey in the making. If everything was perfect, we wouldn't be taking this journey. So how to optimize the possibilities of reaching high standards of community involvement, engagement, community living, because these small pockets are going to impact, have a greater impact around us, right? So if we document and then we share how we overcome our problem, what is the problem in our community? So again, you have to problematize. So, and there can't be if there is a community without any problems, then of course it's like optimum already we've achieved, which is not there. So in current scenario of a pandemic, let's prioritize what is it that the community needs to have. Does it require more awareness of simple thing? Let's start with simple stuff.
That's right. Why don't we, are we starting now?
Yeah, people are coming in. Hi, Morgan.
Yes.
Justin, Andromeda came right in. Hi,
Yes.
how's everybody?
Okay, so take up again. We need a project where we can actually display and test ourselves. See, I can sit here on my sofa and I say, well, I can persevere, I can overcome calamities and help out. I'm a helpful person, I'm a kind person. But unless I'm tested in the market, if I can't even get along with my colleague, I can be sitting here and thinking, my God, I've got all these gifts and I've already developed all of this. No, nothing of that makes sense unless I put myself out in the war zone, out there where I can see the difference, where how I get along with the other plays into action.
So I will summarize it for you in 4 words. What you're saying now, okay, is character development stroke formation.
Yes.
Can be applied to community involvement and community development.
Yes, we would require to create these opportunities,
Yes.
where we get to hone these skills. And first of all, we are aware of these skills. We are aware of ourselves, what's lacking in us. Like if I have a different of opinion and I say, well, it's very difficult, I can't do it because it's my way or highway. It can't be. A community living or being or involvement or engagement needs a lot of negotiation, a lot of patience, a lot of taking people along together. That's where we have those wisdom, you know. If you want to go alone, you go. If you want to go, what was that thing? If you want to go far, you have to take everybody along, right? So those are the opportunities we have to create. First, by looking around, observing what is required. It could be simple things. Children who are not able to manage their online classes. How can this community support those children? So again, you're looking at using your own experience as being more experienced and lending your experience to less experienced people. So that's why the work for a community is huge. It's just a matter of observation and being that sensitive to see this is where I can make a difference. Because only when you set out to make a difference can you test yourself.
I like this, Vashima. I'm framing it already.
Okay.
So
Great.
I've got one part where is the self negotiating, right?
Yeah.
Into
negotiating. Yes, negotiating.
With but first, and then towards the possibilities. So first you got to see that's an impossibility. So then you got to make it into a possibility, and then but make it very specific. For the Templeton pitch anyway, and for us, for Bilberries Blue, we've already carved out our work anyway, which is global stewardship and resilience, right? And it is specifically for the COVID years. And we were aiming for a V rebound, right? That's why we started this youth stewardship program. So the context of the stewards, the Bilberries Blue Sustainability Stewards, was already formulated in this kind of context. So now, to be able to write this, so definitely the context is pandemic.
Yes.
The aim
It has
is the V rebound for all.
Yeah.
Okay, then you got to identify what is the specific problems. It can be small is beautiful.
Yes.
Because there's no other way anyway, because the nature of this pandemic is to be small. So
yes.
And then on the south side, we just need to identify what is the type of character traits that we think will be able to get us out of the pandemic.
Yes, all the characteristics that of our own selves.
Yes, start with the self first, and then negotiating in the community with a purpose, right? Not just
with a purpose.
With a purpose.
So we need to have the problem defined.
Yeah.
Then we need to see the problem and imagine a solution that is community based. So first we identify, then we imagine, then we enact, and invite people to join us, right? And then we make that visible.
Okay. I kind of flip that path in I think you have to have a goal, right?
Yeah. Purpose is there.
You after, so we can list our goals here, so that our vision is already on that goal.
Okay.
Right? Then we got to say, in the community, this ideal community, right?
Yeah.
And our vision is for the global world, right? It's GLOCAL, right? Our community is the global community.
So when you say GLOCAL, it also means to me that the ideas are GLOCAL, the solutions are GLOCAL, but
Yes.
it is in the context of local.
Yes, but there's one part of what we're fixing is definitely global, because the biosphere has to be held globally by all of us.
Yes.
Right. So the other so we're framing a process, right, so that we can root it back to character development, right, and community involvement and engagement and community development through action-based commitments, right, daily and goals that are. So now we're going to simplify it so that we have 3-4 goals, right, and then how then what then is that negotiation and making a different piece in community, right, because it's a community effort. It's a goal for a community, actually, isn't it? Because we're navigating through community to achieve a community outcome.
See, now earlier it was learning by doing, right? That idea, learning by doing. So now it is learning by actions, so which is again doing, but people are going to get inspired only when you are actually acting it out. There are no more lofty ideas floating around and people get inspired, no more. You do a small thing, but do it to your best and make a difference. That speaks a lot more. So
what you're saying, suggesting, Vashima, what I'm hearing is from the self, set the project for the self.
Yes.
Right? But in the context of all of us having this mechanism of understanding where it's fitting into the community development.
Yeah. Yeah, so but all good selves, see, if I with my goodness and tenacity believe in something and there is a problem that I'm trying to tackle and I help to tackle that, I've inspired a lot of others also. So one awareful adult can impact a lot more in the community. Then people want to join in. But if they don't have the first good experience, then they'll say, of course, why get into all of this, right? So that is also cultural. Because I remember in the Singapore context, when I would look at something which wasn't really it wouldn't impact me directly, but it would help the other. And if I reached out, there was a word called, there's another word where I'm trying to get into other people's problem. Because what? Kepo. Stop being a kepo. Now, in the Singapore context, this whole thing will have to be changed, because if it impacts me, impacts you, it impacts us. And we are ourselves there to make a difference for each other. So the idea of keponess was a big hindrance. So something like that. So something where we have to understand the cultural reality and redefine that as community living.
How about this?
Okay.
Bilberries Blue itself is a community of practice. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of and it contextualized in a global community, right?
Yeah.
How about we define ourselves, our ideal selves, right? Community of practice. What are our goals? And then each of us are working in. We can't each have a project each, and then it doesn't make sense. So each of us need to have a role in building this community of practice. This community of practice needs to have very specific outcomes. Right?
Yes. The first, of course, would be just show up, as you firstly remember you said.
Yeah.
Unless we show up, we can't even take the second step.
So our first character trait is show up.
Yes,
Simple.
show up to see what you can
Yeah.
do. Show
Okay.
up, be available.
You have to be present. So for Bilberries Blue, our
Yeah.
community of practice is, if we don't turn up, how can we even be a community, right?
Yeah.
Simple. We just do everything in simple language, okay? We don't want all the smanchy language anymore, okay? So, our character traits, right? Show up, and I will have to request, show up on time.
Yes.
Because otherwise everyone has to repeat, or you will have to go back.
Yes.
We live in the now. We don't live in catching up. There's no time to catch up anyway. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
We're in a pandemic, you know, you don't get out of the fire, you're in the fire. Okay, so show up on time. Yes?
Yes.
Fair enough, everybody? Anything
Yes.
else? Number
No,
two.
it's a
And
huge
speak up, for goodness sake. Just turn on your microphone and speak up. I am getting very impatient on this, so maybe patience need to be ground zero, but nobody is gonna be here to nag you, you know. Nobody has any more energy.
Yeah. So with the minimum energy that we have as residue of what we are all going through, we need to be making that big punch with our time.
Exactly. So show up on time, speak up. Yes? Confidently.
Yes.
Turn on your microphone, speak up. If others are speaking, turn off your microphone. It is a Zoom world during the pandemic. Don't even think that it's not, right? So skill up on communications. Yes or no, everybody? I'm getting very bossy today because I'm navigating home-based learning, another husband there, and then I'm in a corridor, and never mind 10,000 other things, and I'm sure every one of us is as well with your schoolwork and all that. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay, show up on time, speak up confidently.
Yes.
We are defining our character traits, you know. I cannot have one person defining. That's called a dictator, okay? Can we have more people speaking?
Okay, what I can summarize again, I'm just listening. To simplify, I think of a tree. The tree has roots.
Okay, tree, okay.
Yes. The tree has trunk.
Okay.
The tree has leaves. Natasha, you follow?
Yes, I'm following. Yeah, I'm following.
Alan, you follow? Can you follow? I'm talking of tree. Tree has a root. Tree has a trunk. Tree has leaves. What we did up to now was to go to the root. That's why we said identity, integrity, recreate. What are we doing? What have we done so far? We are rooting ourselves. We are trying to build our characters. That's why we say character formation, character skills. So this is the root. If the root is not strong, if the root is not anchored on the soil, the tree will not flourish. So the first step that we did all these 5 months is rooting ourselves, making sure that the roots are healthy, the roots are properly rooted on the soil so that the tree can grow. Okay, so it's just the imagery. And then all the things that you are trying to do now, and it will develop into a trunk. And the trunk will depend on the health of the root. Because if there is a trunk, if the root is wobbly and it's rotten, the trunk will also be rotten. You see trees all over you. They are hollow. The trunk is hollow. The tree is sick. So if the root, whatever you have, whoever you are, you have to be the best of the best. It doesn't matter. It's like accepting. We said the other time, We also said, I summarize what you have been telling. Accept and flourish according to what you have. There is nothing perfect. You have to be happy with imperfect, right? So if we have that in our mind, we will be able to root ourselves very, very strong. So now the tree is grown, the tree is rooted. Now the leaves will flourish, the fruits will come out. And this is the community of practice. So what Vashima is saying, action by learning, action by doing, they will already see. Because if the fruit is growing, there is action. If there is no growth, there is no action, it's dead. So this community is because the trees are healthy. And you can see around you, if there is a park, if the trees are flourishing, the trees are healthy, then people know that there is something going on. So the fruit is the community involvement. Whatever you have this set of skills, you have this set of ability, you have this whatever. It's the best of what you have. And then you can apply that by doing. So I just imagine this, all this discussion, if there is a solid root, there is a solid trunk, the tree is going to bear fruit, and it will be able to apply to all the communities around us. That's my giveaway. Let's make it simple.
I like that, Bunny. Can I clarify? What is the trunk?
The trunk is where all the tubes will come in. You know, all your space, your lighthouses, your library, all this will come from the health of the trunk. Then you will have all the branches.
What is the trunk then? It's
if the trunk is not healthy, there will be no branches. Then all these branches that you have are going to be dependent.
Is the
Trunk is all the platforms and the opportunities.
Yes.
What is that? What is that connecting the root, which is the self,
yes,
to community giving, right? Because today's session is actually live for others, right?
Yes. Now we are already on the part of solidarity, giving yourself to the others. If you can connect that, if you are healthy, you have developed yourself in terms of character, whatever Vashima was saying, think of others, no capo, no this, no this, no this.
The fruit bits must have action. So the tube piece is actually our platform of possibilities, the opportunities, right?
Yes.
And essentially the opportunities, which also has the skills development, and it has the material, it has the
it all will branch out to opportunities.
Yeah, but what's driving it is the person's
the person.
It's this person's rooting itself, right?
Yes.
The seed, right? The seed.
Yes, that's why we started.
So you have to kind of then go through the whole opportunities that tube has, and then essentially you are the one bearing the fruit and sharing it, right?
Yeah, and then you can help the community.
The fruit is the joy that individuals also receive. The fruit is the joy of the love of labor of everyone.
Yes. So I think they should be able.
Yeah, I like this. Simple. It's
simple. Even that's
and I would lay on this structure.
Yes.
The biodiversity and the earth piece of it. So you can color in the skies, and they're real skies, and the soil is real earth, not metaphorical.
Okay, Alan, what do you think?
I'm gonna eat some cake. Sorry, very hungry today.
But is it a good image? The tree, the root, the trunk, and the fruits and the leaves. Is it a good image for what we are trying to do? He says. Yeah. What do you think, guys, ladies?
Yes. I think
to simplify, no, because we can get lost in the forests. What about you, Tan Ijin?
Yeah, I think it's a really good imagery.
Because we started in January, that's what we were going to navigate. We were not thinking of anything yet. We were just saying who we are, what we are, where we're going. And now we have already explored in all these sessions who we are, what we need to recreate in ourselves. Remember the last session, the recreation? And then in the meantime, we are getting that integrity and the dignity. What we are doing right now is rooting ourselves in order not to stay kepo, but in order, as you say, serve the community, learn, and then do. Yeah, it's an imagery that I thought of. Yeah.
Excellent, Nick. Excellent.
Yeah, I agree. So the learning and doing, it's really the trunk, right?
Yeah, and it's the process of growth.
Process of growth. Learning by doing, process of growth.
And we keep nourishing the roots so that everything else grows. So we nourish the roots with our values.
Yes, yes.
With our sense of impacting, transforming, serving. All of that is the nourishment for the roots.
Because when you stop nourishing the tree, it will die.
And that's why the nourishment comes from a collective energy.
Yes.
We all live our values. We all live our dreams. We all live the impactful life we want to have. So that keeps nourishing. Even if one of us has done something, it will still be a very nourishing dose to make that visible by serving it as inspiration for others, new ideas for others.
Yeah, imagine if you don't take care of the tree, if you don't take care of yourself, you will be the tree will be sick.
Absolutely. So our self-doubts, our negativity, our anger, our jealousy, our incompetence, everything will start getting highlighted when we don't nourish the roots.
Yeah.
So,
and the tree will obviously be sick and it will die.
So the skill is to learn to take care of each other and ourselves, right? What they call self-compassion, nourishment. So I'm seeing rooting ourselves, turn up and root yourself. Number 2, learn to nourish yourself and others and be nourished, right? Because that's really what the root area needs, right?
Yeah. And nobody cuts down a healthy tree, remember? Nobody will ever cut down a healthy tree. But if the moment they see that the tree is sick, it has holes in the trunk, and it has a lot of insects, and it has a lot of
it's sick, it's unhealthy.
It's sick. Then we contribute to the sickness of the tree.
The whole pandemic
pandemic has taught us one thing universally, that just being yourself being safe is not good enough. So it's only helping and maintaining the life of the community that you can be alive to.
I think it's a simplified way of.
So 1, root ourselves, nourishment. 3 is create the opportunities by doing it, right?
By actions, yes.
Yeah, like what we're doing now. We created the opportunity, and then we're all now learning how to do this together, right?
So actually, our conversations will easily be able to say, okay, this is at the leaf and the branches. This is the part which is at the trunk. And then we are all talking about nourishing the roots. So which conversation fits in where? It'll be very easy to navigate.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still go root, nourish, grow by doing.
Okay.
It will be evolving. And then you mentioned leaves and fruit. What's the difference, Bunny? Oh, we got your branches as well. What are those?
Branches, yeah.
What
the
are those?
branches are the opportunities that are being provided.
Wait, the trunk is the opportunity. No, the trunk is the
The growth.
infrastructure.
The process.
What's that?
The trunk has to grow. It's the growth. Because all the branches will have to connect to the trunk.
What's the branches again?
Yeah, you can't have a tree without a trunk.
No, the trunk is the structure.
Yeah,
Is
yeah. You can call it that way, yeah.
The trunk
The
is the
solidarity of
platform.
structure. The structure of solidarity. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, the structure.
And then all the things will connect to the trunk.
Phew, it's just a flower, you
Okay,
know.
I see it this way. I see the roots as our value-based system, our values and everything. The trunk, I see ideas having a structure. And the branches and the leaves, I see as the action of the individuals in their communities. And the fruit, I see as the joy received. And in that lies more seeds of goodness to transform further.
Yeah.
I see that.
Flower. We need flower. Flower before fruits.
Yeah. So the flowering is actually seeing the difference.
Huh?
The flowers is the difference.
Yeah. Let's hear from the others.
Yeah.
While we're talking, I'm sure they are processing it also.
Please help, because we need to write this in a week's time and submit this, okay?
Yeah.
Let everybody have a go at what they see from our efforts,
For our imagery.
and let them see which part they see what.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yes.
And Jean, Andromeda, Nika, Tasha, and Ellen, you all take notes. And whoever wants to take notes and whoever feel inspired to write this, please write it for us.
Yeah. Because we have to submit this already by
5 Thursdays to Cambridge.
Everybody, so it's a collective ideation.
Moven, what do you think?
And nothing is right or wrong because we are all processing.
Yeah, these are all reflections, you know.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I think for me, right, when I heard flowers and turning it into fruit, I think I related back to transformation. One of the things that we also talked about in the summer school funding, because you take time for the flower to transform into a fruit. So it's like nurturing these young minds and encouraging them to step out of their comfort zones, transform themselves, and also transform the whole system at the same time. And also help them reach their potential.
Very profound.
Nice, beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah. We have to document that.
Yeah, we're recording, so later we will have to sit through and listen.
So, Andromeda.
It's getting very exciting,
Yeah. What are your nuggets of wisdom?
Hello.
Yes.
So I think that the one thing that I can share today is about the recreation and the self-acceptance. It is about when you recreate yourself, we do it for the better and for development. But when we do it for like we do want others to see that we are better, we're going better, or we're doing better, but not for us and for ourselves. It's like not we're not doing it for the good essence of development. It is like you're doing it for others' pleasure or for the society to accept you, and that is wrong because when we listen to what the society tells us to do, um, and we tend to please the society, and we listen to what the standard of the society makes for us, then who will fit in any way? Because all of us have different beliefs and uniqueness, and that is why being being held by one standard by one society is like it's like a bad thing, and you should not be dwelling on that. You have to be better for yourself. You have to accept the fact that you are better yourself, and you have to do it for the betterment of yourself. That's it.
Okay. How that does relate to our imagery of the tree? How can you connect that?
Yeah. So the tree, I can correlate that to the tree through when we plant a tree, we do water that every day. It is nourished by the sun and nurtured by the rain. So there are things that will be easy, and there are things that will be hard for us. So in order for us to grow, we are showered by different challenges. We are nurtured by different experiences, and as time passes by, we are going through those experiences and through those nurtured experiences and challenges.
It's breaking out. I think the Wi-Fi is breaking up, right? Okay, she's back. Okay. Maybe you can again, don't miss your thoughts. You can continue, but what you have spoken, you can continue writing it down so it's not lost. No? No, we were just going to, you say the tree is being nurtured by the sun, by the rain, and along those lines. Yeah, okay. You can continue, but because we can't hear you much, you can continue to write it down. It's okay? Yeah, so we don't want to miss.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So who else?
We can see that we are also, different people are drawn to different parts of the tree, right? So why don't everybody write the pieces? So Ejin continues on her transformation, your essay on transformation.
In the fruits.
After it is conceptual, now just bring it home to the flower and the fruit. Okay, Andromeda, your essays on self-acceptance.
Yeah, the rain. And
the rain. Now bring it home to the imagery so that we can submit a proposal. You see, I'm very action oriented to get our money.
It's the whole thing now. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how you go, right? You get your, because the work came from all of you, right? Inside yourselves, right? So that's how we are also now practicing how we take from our different universes and concepts and what's really resonating with you.
Yeah.
And then now we are growing this tree together. at least mapping it out together. Okay, so this is the process.
Yeah,
So,
I think that has more direction.
yeah, and then that's our goal, and then then have the essays in, and then we compile it, and then we submit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Alan, you want to say something? You're raising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like opportunities. Opportunities. Because a quick on opportunities.
Opportunities. Alan, say again. Opportunities are.
Actually, I like opportunities.
You like opportunities.
Mm.
How do you think opportunities are in the tree? Where are
Well,
they?
actually, the three trucks are opportunity. Mm.
The tree trunk.
Yeah.
How can you give an example?
In me, we are circle. We are all in the community. We are all in the community. We are one, you know.
Oh, okay, Alan, write that down. We are community. We are one. We are one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the tree, so the whole tree is one. Is that
Yes,
what you're
all
saying?
three are one.
The whole tree is one. So now we're taking different parts of the tree, but we are one. Alan, can you write that? And what are the opportunities that will enable us to become one? What do you think?
Yeah.
Anything comes to your mind?
Yeah. So I am.
No, like right now, what do you think? When you say opportunity,
They're all one.
and we are one, how do we create opportunities that make us become one?
Well, I see from BB Studios.
You see in BB Studio. How do we do it in BB Studio?
Well, I see we have many projects.
Many projects.
No, many meetings.
Meetings.
Yeah,
Okay,
meetings.
Ellen, you are bringing us to meetings again. I love that. Okay, so your resonance is meetings. Okay, can you see each of you have your own private themes going? Ejin with her transformation, Andromeda with the self-acceptance. You're so consistent, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Ellen, take your meetings and fit it into this tree.
Yeah,
It's on the tree.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, sorry. I need to go. Sorry. I have another.
Okay. Thank you for your contribution, Ellen. That was amazing. Thank you. So you take your meetings, BB Studio.
Yeah.
Okay. Map it to opportunities on the tree, and that.
Yes, on the tree.
Okay.
Okay.
Write that down for us, please.
So.
Yeah.
I also have to go. I have another meeting.
Okay, go for it, Ajit.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yes.
So Ajin, you do your flower to fruit, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Anybody else? Justin, what comes to your mind? What are your reflections?
I'm still thinking. Actually, I have a question that when Alan say that we are one, but in reality, how do we become one? That's the thing I kind of confused. Like, even though we have meeting, but in reality, we are separated by many factors. So, we are very hard to become one. And also about the trunk thing, we are each of us is an individual, and so maybe some of us is like cactus. They doesn't need much nourishment to grow, but then maybe some others individuals, they are like rose. They will need many nourishment in order for them to grow healthy, and without enough nourishment, they will eventually die, and then they nobody discover their potential. So the question is that how do we ensure everybody gets to develop their potentials in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we become one? Like for example, we if we want to develop ourselves and also others, but then in practical it might be a lot of obstacles to achieve that, I think.
But maybe you can continue thinking about that. You can process your thoughts because you are on the right track. But only you can provide the answer to your thoughts. Yeah, how do we become one when we are so different? How can the tree become one? Then some parts need more nourishment, some parts are healthy. I think you can explore that. It's a very, very, very powerful consideration, but you have to give us the outcome of your thoughts. No, Justin?
Yeah. Are you able to write it for us, Justin? I think it's a wonderful question.
Yeah, it's a wonderful reflection.
Yeah.
Because you have thought of this dilemma, difference but unity. The tree has many parts, but it has many needs. Some need more sunshine. Maybe this part of the tree is not growing because it's not exposed to the sun. This one is not bearing fruit because it doesn't have enough water.
Bernie, I think Justin is thinking of a garden.
I don't know. We can
Yes,
ask him.
because he's thinking that each person is actually a tree, a different type of tree. Okay, so when we're becoming one, well, while we are trying to make this just as a one tree and seeing the parts of it, so Justin, clues already, garden, okay, and he has a valid question, concern, because a cactus is different from a rose. So then how do we make the whole garden flourish? So now instead of a tree, we have a garden.
No, but the tree has many leaves, right?
Now Vashima was pushing us back to the one tree.
Because the tree has many branches and it's also one. Let's look at how can we be one. It's not one as in just body, one in the desire to make a difference, one in a desire, one in opportunities. Everyone has an opportunity. That's being one also. One with hope, one with the capacity, one with the leadership. We are one. So it's more looking at the oneness than the one which is deprived. For me, one is that no one's deprived. So try and look in those ways, where one with full of zest for living, one with full of ideas, one with full of actions, one with full of ability to make a difference, one with big dreams and having the opportunities to make those dreams come true. That's also being one. No one is deprived. No one is excluded. No one is left out. Everyone is in it together. That's also being one. Does that help?
Very good. So you can continue thinking about that. There is unity in differences.
In differences. If we were all together same, the way we look, the way we eat, the way we, the world would be so boring.
So what is building our solidarity again? It's solidarity, actually. The unity that we're talking about.
Yes, so unity in our own.
Even
First
though
of all,
unique, have different needs, have different abilities, what is the binding factor?
Binding factor is
has
the love for each other.
I think he has the answer.
Yeah.
Marvin, you are thinking. What are your thoughts?
about solidarity, where everyone is from like different end of the roots, and then begin to grow due to common interest. Everyone from the tip of the root converge to become the trunk, and then it grows to the sun, which to me the trunk is like an important pillar where for each of us to go our separate ways, expanding our ideas and thoughts.
So it starts from the roots. The tree has different roots.
Yes, and the trunk is like a solidarity, I can say.
Yes.
It brings
it will go
people
into
from
the
different end of the roots together.
Mm.
Mm.
That's a very good imagery, huh?
So everyone's uniqueness is like a thread in the root, right? And then we bring ourselves together and we kind of like solidify ourselves, right?
Into a trunk.
Yes,
through our trunk.
and then we start to expand ourselves.
Then after that,
from
expand
leaves,
again. Wow.
transform to
the
fruits.
So the branches are actually the
branches.
extension of the roots, you know, in our this, and the trunk was where we clarify and we grow together, right? If we don't work together, we can't grow together. We can't solidify ourselves as a trunk.
Yeah,
and then we
he
can't
says
be a branch.
the trunk, he says, is the solidarity.
So we're not allowing gardens and people just sprouting elsewhere. No, it looks like we're not. Okay, everybody get back into the trunk.
The trunk is the process where the roots, there's solidarity. Yeah. But the roots are different parts, right? They're all rooted in different ways.
So the trunk now has a very clear goal. It has to bring all the differences of people who have found their unique selves, they've rooted themselves, they're very clear. And the trunk is the trunk of solidarity, and we have to grow this, not build it, right?
So it will expand.
Yeah, there's a purpose, which is to grow the branches, right?
Wow, it's getting to be very, very rich.
Yeah. Morven, can you help us with the branches, please? And Justin, just quickly jump, come tell us the answer. You see, I want answers. I just want answers.
No, he already said that. Yeah, the trunk.
Oh, he said the answer already. Okay.
Yeah, the trunk is the solidarity.
Okay. Any more deepening? Justin, Morven, some more. Give us a little bit more. What you some more. Yeah. The solidarity. Yeah. Okay. I can't see it. So how do we then bring different people together in the trunk? This is you and Justin. You got to help us work through this piece. So the differences in the roots have to be brought together and solidify as a trunk of solidarity. And then after that, it has to allow the branches to grow out instead of us just becoming trunk forever into the sky and not, because you can be very strong and then after that you lose your identity again, right? You lose your uniqueness, right? So how do we then change from the trunk into branches? I think that point. Yeah. I'm interested in that point.
Yes, if you're just a trunk, it is a very unexciting tree. It's only trunk.
Yeah.
It's very ugly. It's only trunk. Andromeda
can be anybody who is
because we already
Sharon, we haven't heard from you, and Phyllis, and
now Felix, what can you add?
Phyllis, hello Phyllis, and Ivy, can you turn on your videos? We have to welcome you. Hello.
Yes.
Oh, please help us as well. We are in a dilemma building this tree.
Hi.
I don't know. Hi everybody. This is Phyllis and Ivy. Ivy is from the Changi Foundation, and Phyllis is from Very Beautiful People. So I've already explained that you will be joining us today. So this session is already being recorded, if that's okay.
It's actually a session of solidarity without you knowing it. Huh?
Yeah, our session today is about live for others.
Yes, live for others.
Yeah, but what we are also actually in the process of formulating our character development imagery. So through character development, we are going to build community development, and we've settled into essentially a tree. So I'm not sure at what point did you join in the conversation, because we were like so into it.
I think 5 minutes ago, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And then Bernie is in Hong Kong. Vashima is from India, and all our other youth stewards are from Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines for this session. Yeah.
Yes. So now it's getting to be very, very, very interesting. We have already developed the tree. It is nourished by the sun and the rain, and then it has flowers, and then it blooms. There's a process, and then it has fruits. And now we go back to the root, as Maureen was trying to explore. The roots are very different. And then they develop into a trunk, and the trunk for him is the image of solidarity. Now we're asking him, after, if the tree is only a trunk, it goes trunk, 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 trunk. It's not going to be a nice tree because it's only a trunk. So how can you expand that idea further? Alan left, but he says the tree for him is opportunities.
And he said the community is one.
And the community is one.
And he had said that for him, the opportunities were really the meetings at BB Studio. So that was very interesting insight. And later on, he will actually write. So everyone is going to write something. And of course, we've already spent 5 months together with the youth stewards, and with Natasha and Ellen, we've already spent 3 years. So they understand some of these processes that we go through. So we're saying that the roots is actually the rooting of ourselves, and then the roots will need nourishment. So the rooting of ourselves was really the formation work that we were doing in the first 5 months, and the nourishment is essentially our values and what we pour. And we were saying that we need to look after ourselves and look after others, and others look after us. So that's how our character development is in the context always of community development, and what are the skills that we're trying to define now to build our character development formulation. Okay, and we're doing it together with everybody, whoever is participating today. So Ivy and Phyllis, please be very comfortable to just jump in and help us with this process. And then we said that the trunk essentially is our framework, TUBE, the Economics of Universal Wellbeing, which is not just economics anymore because we put in a lot of components to it, but that feels like a structure that everybody is very comfortable to be able to see. Justin, I think your point had a point about pragmatism. Okay, how the differences can become then one, and then now and what are the pragmatics around that? And I think TUBE, the framework and structure. Oh, Tasha has something to say. Go on, Tasha.
Okay, Natasha, inspired. You're inspired. Okay.
I think the only way that we are going to go as one, the tree to go as one is if we are a bit more open-minded, because once we have our opinion, then other people also have their opinion. Then if we are not open-minded, then as as you all said, the trunk will just go straight
Oh,
forward.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we do need to
You
be
got it,
open-minded.
Natasha. You cracked it. Open-mindedness. Can you write something for us, please?
Okay.
Yes, that's very deep, huh?
You become like that. It's still like that.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. Huh? If we are only a trunk, we're not open-minded. We just grow into a trunk. And it's not a nice thing to look at a tree, which is only a trunk, right, Natasha? So what comes to your mind is
Yes,
open-mindedness,
Yes.
or there not to be a trunk instead of a tree, right? Wow, very powerful, eh?
I love it.
Very deep.
You
very
cracked that solution for us from the trunk. And Tasha, I like your idea, what you mentioned about the opinions. Can you share a little bit about that? You were talking about.
If you only have your own opinion.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, okay. Let's say in a meeting, right? If you want to give your opinion, then everybody else has their opinion. Then everybody else sticks to their opinion. Then a disagreement will come. Then a disagreement, which is not good. I mean, if nobody is being open-minded, then there'll be a lot of disagreement in the meeting.
How do we resolve that?
How can you come out of this? How can you come out of this situation?
Well, so I think to avoid disagreements in the meeting, we all have to be open-minded so that we can see where the other people are coming from.
So the secret is to be open-minded. So you don't grow as just a trunk.
Yes.
Yes, that is the analogy of the trunk and the open-mindedness.
Tasha, so how do we then action ourselves? So, but if we sit down and then one group of people, say like us now, 12 people, and we have 12 different opinions and views, what do we do? So you are picking up from where Ellen is saying in the meeting, because we are meeting, right? Community, we are meeting.
Yeah, well, if we have 12 other opinions, then I think we need to see where everybody else is coming from, and so that we can reach to an agreement together with everybody else's efforts.
Sharon, go ahead.
Okay, Sharon has an inspiration.
Okay, let me add on. I really agree with what Natasha said regarding open-minded. But for me, I see the three as a whole because we see the best way to find ourselves is actually to lose ourselves by in the service of others. As same as three. When we see three, there's a saying goes in Bahasa Tamil, in Tamil language, which I say la. கல்லடி படும் என்பதாலே மரம் காய் காய்க்காமல் போனதில்லை, which means a tree does not stop from giving fruits, because we know when a tree is producing fruit, it says that everybody will pick a stone and hit the fruit to get the fruit, which means the tree knows when the tree is going to fruit blossom, there will be a time he was like Natasha said, even though we are open-minded, it's when we see a tree as a whole, we should stay positive in a community service, in a community meeting. There should there will be many arguments, many ideas coming from people. And when we get some plans on the meeting people, how do they stay positive to get a good outcome from the meeting itself? So I find that 3 is actually a bad. So how the 3 is standing firm. So how a team can stand strong as a team to make sure they come out of some sort of changes, some sort of ideas, some sort of things that can actually bring out changes. And I'm really like impressed like what y'all try to bring out, like compassion. It's totally related to the 3. So I'm totally agreeing with what Natasha said, with slightly improvement when we see a 3 as a whole. That's it.
Wow.
Well, I
Wow.
like part. Can you repeat when we say it's when we give in, is when we lose ourselves, is when we gain, something like that?
Oh, I mean, okay. The best way to find ourselves is
to lose ourselves.
Okay, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Wow, that's the best. That's the best.
With what
yeah, that is the one of the best things that
reading
was said
from a book.
today.
Service, Sharon, your service, you're consistently speaking about service.
The
You
best
are,
way to find yourself is
the
to
best
lose
way
yourself in the
to lose yourself. How was it again? Can you repeat? I like it a lot. The best way.
Let me type it up.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Wow, that's very, very powerful. Wow, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Oh, that's the 3.
That's the 3.
Because the root is yourself, but actually you're finding yourself, but then you have to lose yourself in the trunk.
And to serve others.
And then find your way to serve others, right? That's how the branch can grow, because you found your way to serve others. Ta-da! You did it, Sharon. Everybody, we did it. Okay.
Oh, one more. Mel Felix.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, we haven't finished yet. Okay, wait. So you have to find yourself, lose yourself, serve others. I like that one more point about Sharon said, and during the whole thing, you have to stand firm.
Yeah.
So coming back to Bernie, the rootedness. So the journey to find yourself
is to serve
was
others.
Actually to serve others, but you have to work on your rootedness, because otherwise it is going to be difficult. Because there will be many opinions, there will be disagreements, and people will fight for the different views, but you have to contextualize and remember that your purpose is service, and
you see,
your openness. Yeah,
this ties in with the dilemma of Justin, because he said, how can we be one when we are all so different? So I find one aspiration leads to the next, because as Sharon was saying, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So you can have that unity of purpose when you're serving the community. Yeah. So all the differences will dissolve because you have united in the service of others.
The solidarity of service.
That is solidarity.
Solidarity of service.
Solidarity of service is what will dissolve the differences. Then we become one again. Marvin, you agree? Wow.
Not just yet, you know, Bernie.
Yeah. Anything?
You'll find your way, your path, because you will find your individual branches, but you're not somewhere else. You're still part of the trunk because you've got all this commonality and solidarity, right? But then you don't become just a trunk. Your own identity still comes out and your own pathway still comes out. And then we will have the flower and then the transformation to the fruit. I have one more question.
No,
what does the leaf do? Yeah, it's going to, you see, that's why you all have to speak up early and inspired early. Otherwise, you'll be the last one running the last mile with a question that maybe you don't resonate with. Mel Felix.
So anyway, Mel Felix, what have you been reflecting?
Hello. For me, the tree needs to be strong so that it can surpass many challenges in life, like as people. The tree, there will be typhoons and other calamities that will come to him, but he needs to be strong so that can
Can overcome typhoons, calamities.
It can overcome, and just like us people, what we are having now, this COVID-19 pandemic, we need to be strong and healthy so that we can win this
battle.
Yes, this battle.
So Sharon had talked about standing firm. Mel Felix, yours is going even deeper to that you have to overcome, right?
Yeah.
You said healthy too. I like that. You have to be strong and healthy. And even though the typhoons and calamities and everything come. So can you share with us what you think we can do? What are the qualities that we need to be able to overcome typhoons and maybe even somebody coming with an axe, you know? Think about that.
I think we need to fight and survive together as A1. We need to help each other.
How do you see that?
Because can't say it.
So to be strong is to be able to help each other. That's one way of being strong. That's what he said. To be strong is when you help others, then the tree becomes strong.
As a community, right?
As a community. So as a community, you're strong, you're able to overcome typhoons and calamities. Yes.
What does a healthy community look like? What does a healthy tree look like to you? What does it mean to be healthy?
For me, just like following just simple rules in this pandemic. It's one of the most needed this time, because here in the Philippines, people just go going around not following the law. That's why the cases of COVID-19 here is getting higher and higher. They can't even follow the rules of our government.
I like that because it's very simple. We're talking about the relevance of us in the pandemic. So number one is, and you said it, follow the simple rules, right? And it's not rules for rules' sake. It's rules knowing that you're fighting this together, right? So can we root this to a character trait like maybe discipline? You think? Why do you think people are not following the rules? What's making them not adhere to it? What's the disconnect between that and the identity of the self?
Can you repeat the question?
Why
Like,
don't they like to follow the rules?
why do you think they're not following the rules, and why is it disconnected with the? Okay, yeah. Why do you think they're not following the rules?
They're just hard-headed Filipinos.
Huh?
They say they're just hard-headed.
Stubborn.
Yes, stubborn.
So if we take that as a positive comment, we could say, again, we go back to the rooting of the person. If we establish solid roots, and one of them is follow the rules, then the tree will be very strong. So it goes back to what we were looking for. The formation of the character is really crucial to the growth of the tree, right?
Yes.
Yes, if there is no character formation, which are the roots of the society, then there will be rule of law is not possible.
Benny, it's order.
Yeah.
Basic law and order.
Yeah. Again, but if you go down to what we were talking about, the character formation, it's the respect. That another idea is the respect for the rule of law and order. That's another character formation. Okay, so who else wants to contribute?
So can everybody write whatever you've contributed, the perspective that you had contributed today in your own words? Don't worry about trying to fit it into the any language that you think is emerging from this. You just write in your own words, write straight from your heart, and write beyond what you've contributed as you're writing. And then if you can send it to Ejin, she will know where to put it. Okay, and then we'll have this week to be able to reflect, and then I'll try and assemble, or somebody who's inspired will try and assemble it together. I think we will have cut one of essentially our character development process. Vashima, what do you think? You think we've got it?
I think we have done a deep dive into it, and ideas will keep evolving. But I think we've got the basic in place. We've got enough content to build our vision and goal for the 5-5 Thursday challenge. I think we're very.
Do you think we have it? Because we need to frame it very tightly. We don't have any more room, because it will be hard lockdown the structure will have to be robust,
Yeah, so I think we also will leave it open to all the participants. If they should have another idea, then just put it down. Just put it out there. right as if our life depends on this funding.
Yeah. And isn't it the service and because we're really, this is our project, Vashima. You were talking about how a project brings the best out of us, right?
So we have to be out there to even know who we are. So it goes back. We may think I may think I'm a good leader, but if I can't work with 10 others and get it going, then I have to reimagine my own leadership. So for every quality that we are looking at having as our toolkit, like patience. But if I lose my patience with people who may not be as fast as me, will also put me into my own reflection. That we have to go far and we have to take everybody along. So in every case, we are setting up our own examination of life. So our trunk is going to be strong because our routing since last so many months has really delved into us. What is it that we are looking at making a difference? And all the difference that we have to make around is around us, right under our nose. We don't have to travel any far in a country that needs us more, because right around us, the community itself will offer those opportunities. So that's what we are looking at, sensitizing ourselves so much that we can see it right before us and make a difference. We don't have to wait any longer. And remember, small is beautiful. Small impacts will go a long way too.
So we will have this community development framework such that it gets an individual to a point where they're so observant and reflective about their leadership and so able to be nimble, to be honest and humble, and to reimagine, and then be a bit able to really solve the issues, right? The small little things right in front, because everybody is going into some crazy pandemic challenge, and things have just slipped under the best of all our efforts, right? So each of us in the community, at least in this Bilberries Blue and this 100 to 1,000 that we're hoping to, with this fund, to be able to nurture, is essentially this ability, right? This mindset, these values, these qualities, and solve the problems right in front of our eyes, right?
With lots of humor and untiring spirit. Those are the two skills that the post-pandemic and now will be required. You need your humor, you need your untiring spirit. So even if you have to laugh aloud and do the laughing meditation, go do it, because that gives you lots and lots of energy. We can't be sullen and down and out and thinking we're going to change the world. If we don't have that infectious spirit and that untiring spirit that will take people along with us, with our spirit, even that is service. Service doesn't mean always raising fund and giving it to others. Service means also bringing a smile to a guy who's lost it, who have lost hope, who've lost their smile, their ability to look that this too shall pass. So even that to me is a service. So we can look at redefining our idea of service. Even listening to somebody who hasn't spoken a whole day, but being there as a listener, even if they're reminiscing, it'll help their mental health. So even redefining service is going to mean that we relook at ourselves. What is it that I would want? Maybe I want to talk to a friend. So be a friend to somebody who needs that. So service idea has to be broadened.
So you're saying the fruit, how we define the fruit, right?
Yes. So moving, see, you say you have to,
and
there's
the seed,
out of the box.
The seeds are inside the fruit, right? What really are we offering, right? From seed to seed, right?
Yes. And then remember that saying, that think out of the box. Now this time I would want to think, that's what I do for myself. Think beyond yourself. So don't be a box, think outside the box, but think beyond yourself. That's where you touch lives. I see so many people around me with the telephones and everything. They're just looking at their own misery. My God, if we look at how miserable and how much more miseries people have gone through or going through, my God, our own problems look, my God, so small. So that's where the service idea of giving hope, giving friendship, lending a hand, doing little errands for others in our everyday life. See, I can see some smiling because you have been doing that. So these are all part of service-minded way to be in growing ourselves with the skills and the attitude and the qualities of characters that we need.
This is the seed, okay? So we are drilling down to a distillation here, you know. What is the rootedness of that quality that is able to do that, to be beyond ourselves? So we said that that's the ideal. We need to see an ideal community. We need to see an ideal participant of a community. So now I'm asking, what then is the ideal seed, right? That joy, right? You say it many times.
The joy and the hope and the love around. Imagine if all love, joy, hope is replaced by anger, boredom, and no hope and misery. Can you imagine replacing all this with, this gets replaced?
Even though there's a pandemic, even though there's a typhoon, so some people will just get up and they'll still be able to do, they can find joy in the moment. So tell me again, this is very interesting. This is going even deeper than the functional skills.
That stoic nature that we can overcome, we can do it, undefeatable spirit. That's the only thing that we can kind of really use ourselves as a resource. Nobody's going to come and
spirit, undefeatable, undefeated, right?
Whatever the right grammar is.
Phyllis, help us. Phyllis has done enormous work in this area.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for 3, so I just wonder if the size matter. So actually I'm quite big size lah. Sometimes I find big size got very good, very positive. I always find having a bigger size, you go to anywhere, wow, you just show your powerness. People are quite scared of you because you're quite big. I'm quite big size. So I love going to the government department because I'm quite big size. Then I bang table also very loud. I don't know how to bang lightly. So these are, so I was just wondering the size of the tree. So does the size matter? If you are stronger, you are able to protect someone. And I also like the idea of Natasha, right? Just now saying about the openness. So we allow other people to grow at their own space. Not you go to forest, not all the trees grow the same, right? So some short a bit, then some bigger a bit, some weird a bit, some very pretty, and right. So we allow others to grow together. That's form the forest. That's form the whole ecosystem. So make yourself strong. So how to make yourself strong is all the nutrient, all the character you put in yourself. You learn to overcome hardship. You learn to overcome anything. So I really like everything I tell her. She's so positive. She's the one who teach me how to be positive. Example, we were making sunflower paper, using paper to make sunflower for an event. I need to make 50 very huge sunflower. So we start making at 7 o'clock because volunteer, no time after work we go and make. By the time you reach 1 a.m., what you think, what you hope to see? You hope that all these sunflower disappear. You're very tired, right? So we left with 5. We left with 5 sunflowers to complete. So it's already 1 a.m. So I was like, Ayo, still got 5 sunflowers. Then my friend said, friend, you must say, wow, we left with 5 sunflowers. So it's a different attitude to a same issue. Either you see it as, well, why small 5 more? My friends will say, no, we only left with 5 more. So it's how you actually position your attitude. So if you want to grow strong, you really have that. You need that to nurture yourself so that you can go stronger, so that you can protect others, so that you also allow others to grow together with you. Yeah. This is how I feel when I heard about the trees. I remember the sunflowers.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent. Thanks, Phyllis, for sharing.
Yeah.
What a wonderful insight into you. A big hug to you.
She's amazing. We will have to share about what Phyllis's journey is on another time, but that's why I asked her this question, because she's taken journey with many youths through many different trials, very, very difficult. Yet she's so positive and she's so strong. She has that tenacity of that spirit that we were talking about, and I was curious then, what is the source of it? Okay, let's ask us again this question. To open the sunflower, there is the sun, right? What is the source of the sun? I think I
You're
know
asking
the
me, or
answer.
you're asking the rest?
Everybody, whoever wants. But you,
yeah.
we can ask you. What is the source? What is the source of that? Your friend who basically said we only have 5 left. What? There's an attitude, right? But
yep.
What is that constant sunshine?
Yeah.
What is that constant sunshine that gets us through the storm, right?
I think a lot of time we need to have that things that you must experience a win-win situation. Okay, so we work with youth, we work with a lot of volunteers, and sometimes it's really helping youth or volunteer to have a good experience. And that experience is a foundation that things can be done. Okay. Yeah, so I always find that people who can walk longer. Oh, I cannot understand that one. Okay. So it's having that experience. You can feel many times and keep on trying. I never believe in youth. Honestly, I don't like to work with youth. I work with children, I work with elderly. I do not like with youth. Until I met beautiful people 13 years ago. It just opened me another experience working with youth. Youth very hard leh. Going through this stage of finding yourself. Wow, really? I have to find yourself with you. I feel very, you're sucking all my energy. So that's why I don't like to work with youth work. Until I met beautiful people who changed me. That I once, you got time or not? If not, taking up a lot of your time.
Share with us.
Okay. So one day I bring a group of youth to Thailand, Northern Thailand, called Mesot. Anybody heard of Mesot? Well, if you heard of Mesot, M-A-E-S-O-T, Mesot, it's Northern Thailand, the border of Myanmar and Northern Thailand. So in order to cross over to Myanmar, it's just a bridge. They call it a friendship bridge. That's so close. Okay. So I brought a group of youth to do community service there. So and then we say that it's a learning trip, right? Learning trip, it means you must stay with someone, right? You stay with someone, then you draw lots out. So we decide to draw lots. Who are you going to stay with? So it's a mentor and one mentee. Wow, I cannot. Someone I don't like the you that I really don't like. She also swear. I don't know whether you can understand all this or not. So he also very she not he yeah. So she also feel that she also don't like me. Wow, I think God must have a purpose to put 2 of us together. So 2 of us share room for 5 days. So, you know, after Thailand, no TV, at night, you are forced to talk to the only person in your room because everybody go back to your own room, right? So I start having a conversation with her. So I asked her, So she was talking to me about her friends. She told me how her friends actually take drugs, how her friend actually, a guy's friend makes other girls pregnant and not responsible. And she was telling me all this. I feel very, very, very amazed. Because why would someone want to have friends who are a bad influence? And I was very, very puzzled. So I asked her, I said, Hazi, why do you want to have friends who don't bring you positive influence, but they are what you describe to me are bad people that harm other people's feelings? What she mentioned to me, I come back to Singapore, I quit my job, and I tell myself I want to commit the rest of my life doing something. She told me, Phyllis, you must be crazy. These friends is all I have. I do not have other thing other than this group of friends. They are my precious treasure. So what are you talking about? How can I leave this group of friends? Even though they are not a positive event, they are my friends. Then I realized if I do not come and give them a good new groups of friends, they will forever stick with this group of friends that will actually lead her into many problems. So this group of friends actually lead her into going to a residential home. We call welfare home in Singapore because of crime they committed. So I came back, I quit my full-time job. And I tell beautiful people, I will commit to build this new community, this community that are very supportive. I think that's what are you all doing too. We want to be strong. We need to build that community together. We cannot do alone. You outnumber them, you outsmart them, but together we can do it. Because we want to be trees, we form the forest, everybody go at different space, different whatever, but we are open. So we want to grow together. So that's one thing that keep me going, because I touch her heart. Later, she actually make she become a very good mentor. No, I think this thing happened about 7 years ago. I know she's become a very good mentor. So I feel that I experienced that. I know 10. That's why that's keep me going. But before that, 7 years, 3-4 years before, I feel until like I cannot see hope. I cannot see hope in the youth that I work with. And actually, that trip was also a trip. I was telling myself, maybe after coming, I'm going to be, I don't want to be beautiful people volunteers. So it actually changed a lot of my perceptions of youth.
Wow. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That in itself is a life-changing sharing.
Yeah. So I think our youth here, you don't underestimate yourself. We are growing sometimes, we break some twists, it's okay. That's make you stronger. Those twists that break is weak lah. Let it go lah. So we stronger lah. Right.
Wow.
Very, 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 very inspiring, Phyllis.
I'm sure everybody have more inspiring story to tell. This is, yeah.
But it changed you because it moved your own life trajectory, you know.
And I see things very differently now. Very, very different. So things I do not need a lot. Now I keep life so simple. I don't care every day I go to every wedding or what with the same evening gown. I actually, to one extent, I really don't care. For me, very hard to find dress lah also. So I keep to that one piece.
So you change your whole life. That means you change, you know, because and you have to take the leap, right?
Correct.
And you changed it for her, you know. For her,
so
your new
really,
friend. You change it for your new young friend, right? And those who are in the similar situation. That's exactly what Bernie has crafted for this, right? Live for others. Phyllis, you're a gift for us today, you know.
Don't wait. Don't need to wait on. If you wait for next, maybe my neighbor will do that. I join that. Won't. If you are so passionate, just take the lead lah. You just gather like-minded people and you just move on.
So like-minded people, you've already built this community, right? We are struggling to build our community and define it. You cross over, right? You're beyond yourself. So you kind of in yourself. You basically jump. You found that power. Okay, now I want to ask you, what is the thing that powered you to go beyond yourself? There must be something that sparked it. Okay, so for Phyllis, it was that night, and it was actually a physical human person in front of you that maybe initially you didn't even like, in that sense, you couldn't resonate with, but somehow something in her life moved you to the extent that you reached out, right? You changed, that means you lost yourself, you know. That's the example of what Sharon said, right?
Yeah.
You lost yourself. You died to yourself. You gave up your whole entire life for her, you know, and her friends. For her, actually, because her friends are not giving her good influence. So how does that happen, Bernie? Vashima is oh, how does that happen? That you or anybody, Morven, Justin, Natasha.
Oh, you all have a similar situation as a turning point for yourself? Because our life, we got low, we got up, we got high time, we got very low time. And sometime in our life, there's a turning point. For me, that was not the turning point.
No, but I think the summary of this, because I think if we didn't identify it, but this chapter in our map is solidarity. The last one was recreate. This one is solidarity. I think what can summarize it is what Sharon has said in many forms. Because he said, if you want to see the best in yourself, is to see yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. That's the summary which I pick up from this. This is not nugget.
I personally, for me, find a lot of joy. I don't know how. Maybe for me it started as young as I was 10 years old. I always share this story as I'm deeply reflecting. Of course, the push came because I have a child with trisomy 21, and I also realized this: if I didn't put in the effort to make a world that is different, that is truly inclusive and enabling, not in words, and it cannot be politicized. I think he has been the gift for me. I think, and the rest is just really finding out how, you know, the why wasn't ever a problem for me. But if specifically about Bilberries Blue work, about the commitment to full inclusion, I think it's understanding that it will never be built by anybody. A parent's commitment is will go the furthest. I was sharing with everybody else. I was very, very close to closing everything down because it's so challenging. I was still packing on my own, you know, this couple of weeks, Bilberries Blue, just one studio, right?
Yeah.
And the amount, and of course I had so much reflection time, the books, the materials, you almost look mad, you know, accumulating and trying to pack this in a COVID, going to somewhere we don't even know, and then now it's delayed again. And but what was beautiful about this whole Bilberries Blue community thing is that it's so wonderful to experience how people just come together. The logistics guys, people were really accommodating and they were giving good rates. So for me, maybe it's like you said, like-minded people. I think while we think we are responding to somebody in need, actually in this journey so far, I think the person who really benefited from it all the most is actually myself. It's I have to say that very, very truthfully. I don't know why. It's a bit like Phyllis in that place in the mountains. I was already at the edge of myself as myself, you know. So I think, yeah, okay, yeah. So that's kind of like the deep sharing, right? Maybe it cannot actually be defined. I don't know. So we were trying to define it, right? But it has to kind of, it's not a here thing. It's entirely here. Otherwise the journey cannot sustain, Bernie. Even if we write it down, even if we put in the best resources, when it gets really hard, there is always that one point, and I'm just living it right now, and I'm sharing it with all of us here very honestly and very truthfully, how Bilberries Blue could have sustained 20 years. So it was not even about Keith, right? It was about the seeding and that determination, and all of you are now here with us and we're trying to do this together, right? It will not. So when the question I want to ask is, if something comes along and blows everything apart, everything, how do you re-begin? Okay? And pandemic has really done that to us. It's blown everything apart. So if we can't find that core, that seed, right, of humanity, and can't even articulate it, we're in a big trouble. We're in big trouble, you know. So we may be able to write all these fancy things, right? So I'm trying to drill us down to that one thing, right? That we can say that's humanity, you know. So maybe that's why I'm hitting it home, right? Phyllis, we've gotten to a place where it's the school of life now. So if we bear fruits, and then we have these seeds. So imagine this scenario where everything has come and blown everything apart. What then is the first thing we plant? Okay, Bunny, that's my question. I don't know if you want to close the session. 4:20. That's just nicely. Maybe you can help us.
Yeah, I think that's why I summarized it, what this Sharon said. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Because if you always think you reflect on yourself, you will never be able to be of service to others. So it's a summary of everything that has been said today.
So it goes invisible, right?
It's invisible but visible. Invisible in the sense that intentionally they don't see it. But the first one who will benefit is yourself. That's why if you serve others, like what Phyllis has shared, you will be the first one to find yourself back.
So how do we do this? How do we do this character development? Now we need to circle back to
that's why I
grounding
said
it. Yeah, no, but it's philosophical, Bernie. So we need the first step. It's philosophical to say you lose yourself, So now I'm putting it in a very pragmatic term, right?
Yeah, you
how does our program begin, right?
No, that's why when we started this program, it was self. Who are you? Where do you come from? Where are you going? What do you want to be? All this was always inner. You know, I want to be an architect. I want to be a doctor. I want to help my parents. I want to do this. I want to do that. Now we've moved away very, very far from there.
So how do you plant the first seed?
By looking at what you can serve the others.
The seed is basically the seed of the community, right? So we need to start with.
The seed is yourself.
Huh?
The seed is yourself. That's why he says the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself. If the seed doesn't die, there won't be any fruit. It's the analogy. The seed has to die in order to sprout. You can't help the community if you don't lose
yourself. You don't lose yourself. You're not ready to give your all, right?
Nothing can be done.
your entire self, right? It's not
Nothing.
even, huh?
You strip yourself naked in the sense that don't think about your family, don't think about your parents, don't think about your children, don't think about your marriage, don't think about your achievement. Just be aware of yourself. There's nothing. All the others are outside you, and then you will find yourself. Because if you trap yourself in all these trappings, my education, my family, my marriage, my this, all of this are not going to be able to serve the community.
Find yourself.
Starting with
find
yourself.
yourself.
Yes.
Find yourself.
Yes.
The answer is not even lose yourself. It's find yourself.
Yes.
Huh?
It's not even to
Find
yourself.
yourself. Get rid of
That's the seed.
Get rid of all the extrinsic stuff. You are the seed. Just find
the seed.
yourself.
But if you die to yourself, you will find yourself. If the seed dies, it will bear fruit. The seed has to be go down, buried under the ground, to completely disappear. Then it will bear fruit. Isn't it, Phyllis?
Sorry, I need to go. I have another meeting starting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
happy
I think
to
that's
meet
how
all of you. Yeah.
summarize is
Thank
today.
you, Phyllis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we need
so
to.
we will wrap up. Because I want this to be really clear, right? So that when we get the funding, when we share with others, right, it's one single answer, you know, it cannot have like so many philosophical stuff, right? So just like we distilled stuff from Recreate and then we have the School of Life, I think today it's a simple directive. Find yourself.
Now it's even further than the last session, which was, again, it's self-directed. I will reinvent myself. I will recreate myself. I will do this. I will do that. If I fall, I will get up. All this will bring me back my identity, my integrity. But what today's session was all about is, the summary is, you find yourself by losing yourself. And you find yourself and you lose yourself by serving others. I
But
think
you forget,
Natasha can understand
as you are serving, you forget yourself because you're so focused on getting the work done for others and all that. So you and then how do you find back yourself if you lose yourself?
Because of the joy you get in receiving. Because the others, like what Phyllis said, because you gave, you will take back. They will give it back to you.
So this is the intrinsic joy, the source of the sun, the undefeatable spirit. Yeah. So Bunny, seed to seed is the seed of the fruits, right? Then that's the seed, right?
Yeah, it goes back. It's a cycle.
Seed to seed.
Seed to seed.
Natasha, Mel, Felix, Morven, and Justin, what do y'all think? Do y'all like this cycle? I'm still asking somebody to contribute about the leaves. Like, I'm so greedy. I just want that one piece and then we can finish this. Anybody has any thoughts about what the leaves are doing? Oh, the leaves are transpiring.
No, the leaves are there, but they're not important.
Really?
The leaves, for example, a tree will have only, a fig tree will only have leaves, but doesn't have fruit.
Isn't the leaves for breedability?
Yes, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to establish here is the character. The root, the trunk, and the fruit.
I think the leaves will become the food of the tree.
The food for the tree, the fertilizer.
The leaves are the nourishment. How does a leaf nourish the?
Because they belong to the soil, and the soil will be fertilized by the tree. The soil will be fertilized by the leaves. So they have a purpose, but the purpose is not as important as the soil, as the root, the trunk, and the fruit. Because the tree can be leafless. One typhoon, all the leaves will be blown by the wind, but the tree will stand.
How about the leaves giving shelter, Bernie? Because
Yes,
one of Bilberries Blue thing is to give refuge, right?
Yes.
Refuge and
yeah.
sanctuary.
Mm.
Huh?
Mm.
Maybe the leaves are about
They have
that space that we give ourselves,
the
so that
leaves,
it's not
no,
so exposed,
the
right?
leaves with the branches.
The branches are different people expressing
No,
their
but the
own
leaves
different
by
parts.
themselves cannot survive. They have to be attached to the branch. So the leaves have a purpose to provide shelter, to provide nourishment for the tree. They have also the
shelter, nourishment, and it's actually linked. I know it's linked to the trunk. It's actually an extension of the trunk in the different. So while we have tube where it's very centralized, right? The solidarity of service. Then, but as everyone branches out into their own ways and lives or different groups, they're still linked to the branch. You know, the tree.
Yeah, they have to be linked.
And it gives that that shelter together. So it's not a forest, but it's actually right up at where the trees are. And then the together, that's that oneness, you know, and that's that beauty. I think otherwise you were just having naked branches, right? It wouldn't work. And also every flowering requires the shelter of the trees, the leaves. If not, it's too exposed.
Yes.
It won't bear
So
fruit.
the leaves provide shelter plus nourishment for the soil.
Okay, I think we'll put it like that. Yeah. Mel Felix, which piece do you think you'll be writing on?
Felix? Oh, Felix.
Mel Felix, yeah. Which piece will you be writing? Can you send us a write-up?
He already said it.
He's already said that. Okay.
Yeah, he said they have to be.
I'm finding somebody to write this leaves piece. Anybody? Natasha? No? No, never mind. So we'll leave the leaves piece to the last now and see somebody will find an inspiration. So my idea is that we will get everybody's writing and I'm really going to piece it together. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And that will be our pitch.
Somebody can make a logo of a tree with fruits and leaves.
Yeah. I don't think we have time anymore for other people to come and jump in and help anymore. It is whatever materials and contribution that we have to
submit.
Yes. So I'm not going to let it go into another iteration, another round, because you know, in real life we can't take so long to formulate ourselves because we actually need to get on with serving those in need. Get the funds and truly serve the ones in need, and instead of staying at this talky level, you know.
Yeah, the deadline is 1st of June, right?
It's June the 11th, but we have to have at least
need to put the
3 cuts because the first cut formulates it. Then after that, we have to operationalize it into programs. Then you can visualize the costing and how and the service delivery as well. You know how we're going to do this. So we are actually, I was hoping Saif will be here to listen in and then he can write it.
Anyway, you can let him listen to the recording and then he can consolidate.
Yeah, usually it's a bit hard to just listen like that. It needs to be a dialogue.
Oh, Vashima also can write.
Vashima is not a writer. Everybody has a different strength. Saif is actually the writer. I should not be writing this. I'm too close to it already. So this is where I will die to myself. I cannot write this piece. It's not good for me to write this piece because we will go back to the old.
Ejin writes very well. Ejin,
no?
It has to be one of them.
It has to be one of them. Ejin or Andromeda, right?
No, Andromeda. It has to be them, not us.
We make it
Between
then,
the two of them, they can make a summary. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just worried they are very busy with their schoolwork. That's all. But let's see.
Let's see.
It may not need to be them, you know, Bunny. They may not have the readiness. This
It's
piece of work is too difficult. It's too technical. Yes, it's not an ideation level kind of work to be able to get the funding. It's got to have that deep. I think maybe I work with Vashima. I think this piece is Vashima, the skills development piece. You know, I think today she has to have that core.
Yes.
So we have to unwind it to the ideal community, to the ideal. Let me work with Vashima then.
Yeah, I think she has got it. Yeah.
Yeah, she has got it, and then
That's
we'll
why
piece
it's
together
important.
everybody's inputs. Then that becomes the pedagogical documentation of a
She
community.
was there right up to the end.
Huh?
Yeah, she was there up to the end. So.
I think we got it.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
So
thank you, everybody.
Very, very well done. I think we got it.
Natasha, very powerful reflection, eh?
Yeah.
You see? Everybody picked up on that. Yeah, that openness. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
we're beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ah.
Yeah, we did good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This thing is working. Yeah.
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 And who is Phyllis?
She is she looks after beautiful people. So beautiful. Oops.